The locked door. The knock came from behind the wall. Emily froze. She wasn't near the front door. She wasn't even near a window. She was in the upstairs hallway of the Grant family's beautiful house, babysitting little Noah, who was now fast asleep. But the knock, it had come from inside the wall. For a long moment, Emily didn't move. Her ears strained for any sound. Silence. Then again, knock, knock. This time it was unmistakable. She stepped back, her heart thudding hard. Maybe it was just old plumbing or some strange echo, but something about that sound felt intentional, not random. Emily reached into her pocket, pulled out her phone, and turned on the flashlight. A narrow beam of light swept across the hallway. The walls were decorated with cream-colored wallpaper, slightly faded, and the wooden floor creaked softly under her feet. She walked closer to the place where she thought the knock had come from. The light revealed something odd. There was a thin line in the wallpaper, barely noticeable, almost like a rectangle. She leaned closer. Her fingers brushed against the wall, following the outline. It was definitely a shape, a door-sized outline, carefully hidden beneath layers of paper. Her stomach twisted. Was this a hidden door? Emily had babysat at the Grants' house many times over the past year. She had never noticed anything unusual about this hallway. It was just 3 bedrooms and a small attic door at the end. Nothing strange. But this felt like a secret. She hesitated. Every instinct told her to leave. It alone, to walk away and call the parents. But curiosity was louder than fear. Emily pressed her palm against the outline. There was a click. She gasped as a hidden door creaked open slightly, revealing a dark, narrow space. A strange chill swept over her, like the air from inside hadn't moved in years. Just 20 minutes earlier, the night had been completely normal. Mr. and Mrs. Grant had left for a formal charity event downtown. They looked elegant, confident. They trusted Emily, always treated her with kindness. Before leaving, Mrs. Grant had kissed Noah goodnight and told Emily she could help herself to anything in the kitchen. Noah, just 6, had gone to sleep after a short story about a dinosaur explorer. He was a gentle child, quiet, polite, with big brown eyes that always seemed to be watching more than he let on. Everything had been fine until the knocking started. Now, standing in front of the hidden room, Emily swallowed hard. "Don't be stupid," she whispered to herself. "You'll just take a quick look, nothing crazy." She stepped inside. The air smelled damp, thick with dust and something else, like mildew and rust. Her flashlight flickered as she swept it across the small room. It was cramped. The walls were covered in faded, peeling wallpaper. An old wooden chair sat in the corner. A shattered mirror hung on the far wall. Cobwebs clung to the ceiling like grey curtains. Then she saw the writing, scratched into the wallpaper in shaky, uneven letters. "Help me. He's still here." Emily stared, frozen. Her breathing grew shallow as she moved the flashlight slowly. Across the rest of the wall, there were drawings, dozens of them, taped or scratched into the surface, crayon pictures, torn and aged. A little girl with blonde hair, a tall man with no face, a door, a dark shape behind bars. In almost every drawing, the girl looked scared. One picture was different, a photograph. It was old, faded, a girl no older than 8. She wore a striped dress and had a distant, haunted look in her eyes. Behind her stood a man, but his face had been scratched out with a black pen. Violently, Emily's hands trembled. What was this place, and why was it hidden? Suddenly, slam! The hidden door shut behind her with a loud bang. Emily screamed, dropping her phone. The flashlight hit the floor, spinning wildly before landing with the beam pointing toward the ceiling. "No, no, no!" she gasped, scrambling to her feet. She rushed to the door and pushed. It didn't move. She pounded on the wall. "Hello? Is anyone there? Let me out." Nothing. Her heart raced. She picked up her phone, still working, but now showing only one bar. She tried calling Mrs. Grant, no signal. She sent a quick message, "Help, I'm stuck upstairs in a hidden room." She didn't know if it would go through then. She heard it, a soft sound, like breathing, coming from the far corner of the room. Her hand shook as she raised the flashlight again. The corner was empty, but the mirror wasn't. The cracked mirror showed something, a faint shape. A girl, standing right behind her. Emily spun around. No one was there, but when she turned back to the mirror, the girl was closer. The girl in the mirror. Emily's hand trembled as she stared into the mirror. The reflection hadn't changed. A faint, ghostly image of a young girl standing behind her, unmoving. Her hair hung limp over her shoulders, her face pale and blurry. But the eyes, they were locked onto Emily's, pleading, desperate. Emily turned around in the small room. "Hello?" she whispered into the darkness. Is someone here?" Nothing, just the sound of her own breathing, shallow and fast. When she looked back at the mirror, the girl was gone. Emily backed away until her shoulder hit the wooden wall behind her. Her legs felt weak and her thoughts raced. "This can't be real. This has to be a trick. I'm just scared, imagining things." But deep down, she knew something was terribly wrong. She had seen things, real things. The scratched message on the wall, the disturbing drawings, the photo of the faceless man. And now, the girl. She had to get out. Emily grabbed the edge of the hidden door and pushed with all her strength. It didn't budge. She kicked it, pounded, with both fists. "Noah! Noah, wake up! Come here!" No sound. Either the room was soundproof or Noah was still sleeping. She tried calling again. No signal. Her flashlight began to dim. The battery was dying. "Please, not now." Emily sat on the cold floor trying to calm her racing thoughts. Think. Just think. Then she noticed something strange. A small metal handle on the floor, half buried under dust. She reached for it and pulled. It lifted a wooden panel, a trap door. Her heart stopped. Was this some kind of underground passage? Without thinking too long, she pulled the door open. A set of wooden steps led downward into complete darkness. Emily hesitated. The air that came up from below was colder, mustier, filled with the scent of damp earth and mold. But staying in the hidden room wasn't an option anymore. She whispered a prayer under her breath and stepped down slowly. The staircase creaked under her weight. The walls narrowed as she descended. Her flashlight flickered again. She slapped it lightly. It stayed on. After what felt like forever, she reached the bottom. It was a basement. Not the normal kind. This one felt unfinished, like it was never meant to be used. The walls were stone, the floor was dirt, and everything smelled like old rot. Her light caught a few strange items, a broken rocking horse, an overturned chair, and a stuffed bear missing its eyes. In the far corner, something glinted. She moved closer and saw a metal cabinet, rusted and chained shut with a thick lock. Nearby sat an old toolbox. Curious, she opened the toolbox. It was mostly empty, except for a notebook. The pages were yellowed, water-stained, but still readable. Her hands shook as she flipped through it. Page after page, written in a child's handwriting. He said, "If I tell, I'll disappear. She never comes anymore. I think she's gone. Today, I tried screaming. No one heard me. I hate the dark. I hate the dark. I hate the dark." Emily's breath caught in her throat. These weren't stories. These were journal entries from someone who had lived down here. She flipped to the final page. Just 2 words were written, over and over again, covering the page. "Still here." Suddenly, footsteps. Above her. Emily froze. Someone was moving in the hallway. Heavy, slow footsteps. Not a child. Not Noah. She turned off the flashlight instantly, plunging herself into darkness. Her breath was quiet, her ears sharp. The footsteps reached the hidden room above. Then, silence. Emily didn't dare move, after what felt like a lifetime. She heard the sound of the trapdoor above her opening. The wood creaked. Someone was coming down. She backed away into the shadows, clutching the notebook like it was her only weapon. Her eyes strained to see, but the darkness was total. Another step creaked closer. She wanted to scream, to run, but she knew if she made a sound, whoever was coming would find her. Then, suddenly, the footsteps stopped, and a man's voice whispered, "I know you're here." Emily's heart nearly exploded. The voice was deep, calm, but chilling. She didn't respond. The silence that followed felt endless. Then, slam! The trapdoor shut again. Fast, loud. The footsteps retreated. Emily stayed frozen in place, terrified. 5 minutes passed. 10. She slowly turned her flashlight back on. The beam was faint now, barely more than a glow, but enough to show she was alone again. Whoever it was had left, or wanted her to think he had. She had to get back to Noah. She had to get out of this house. She climbed the stairs, pushing open the trapdoor carefully. The hidden room above was empty. The mirror was shattered completely now, glass pieces scattered across the floor. She stepped back into the hallway, her ears tuned to every sound. Noah's door was still closed. She ran to it and pushed it open. He was still asleep, safe. Emily rushed to his side, kneeling. "Noah," she whispered, shaking him gently. "Wake up, we need to go." His eyes blinked open, slow and confused. "What's wrong?" he asked, rubbing his eyes. Emily forced a smile. "We're just going for a little drive, okay? Get your shoes." As he got up, he asked, "Did you see her?" Emily stopped. "Who?" "The girl," he said casually. "She plays in the wall sometimes." "She plays in the wall." Emily's breath caught when Noah said it. "She plays in the wall sometimes." His voice was innocent, as if he were talking about an imaginary friend, but there was nothing imaginary about the girl in the mirror. Emily had seen her, and now Noah was saying he knew her. Emily gently took his shoulders. "Noah, what girl? Who are you talking about?" He yawned and looked up at her sleepily. "The girl who cries. She doesn't come out much, but I hear her at night. Mommy says she's not real, but I know she is." Emily's skin prickled. "What does she look like?" Noah thought for a second. "She has yellow hair. She's sad. She talks in my closet sometimes." Emily stood up quickly and looked at the closet in Noah's room. It was just a normal wooden door with a small round handle. Her hands were shaking as she turned the knob and pulled it open. Nothing. Just clothes, toys, a few board games. But then she noticed something. The back wall of the closet had a small wooden panel, one that didn't quite match the rest. A hidden compartment. "Noah, have you ever gone behind this wall?" she asked. He shook his head. "No, she told me not to. She said it's not safe." Emily gently knocked on the panel. It sounded hollow. There was something behind it, but she wasn't going to open it now. Not with Noah right there. Minutes later, she had Noah wrapped in a blanket, walking him downstairs. She didn't care what time it was. She was going to drive him to her house or anywhere that felt safe. Then she'd call the police, the parents, someone. But when she reached the front door, something made her stop cold. The door was wide open. Emily froze. She knew she had locked it earlier. Mrs. Grant always insisted. "Noah," she whispered, pulling him behind her. "Stay right here. Don't move." She took a few steps toward the doorway, slowly peering outside. The porch was empty, but on the welcome mat something had been left behind, a doll, old dirty, one eye missing, the mouth stitched shut with black thread. Emily bent down and picked it up. Around its neck was a thin strip of paper tied like a tag. She opened the note. Only 4 words were written. "She is not yours." Her blood ran cold. Someone had been inside, or was still inside. Emily slammed the door shut and locked it. She turned and ran back to Noah, picking him up in her arms. "Change of plans," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "We're going upstairs. I need to make a call." But Noah wasn't scared. He just looked at the doll and whispered, "She's mad again." Back upstairs, Emily locked the bedroom. Idar and sat with Noah on the bed. She tried calling 911, no signal. She sent a message again. "Please help. Someone's in the house. Hidden room. Child in danger." Message failed. She tried the Wi-Fi. Nothing. It was like the entire house had been cut off. Emily held Noah tighter. "Noah," she said softly, "do you know who that girl is? The one in the walls?" He nodded. "Her name's Lily. That's what she told me. She used to live here before me, a long time ago. But then she got lost." "Lost where?" "In the dark room. She said he put her there because she found the door." Emily's stomach twisted. "Who's he?" Noah lowered his voice, looking toward the closet. "She doesn't say his name. She says he watches when we sleep. She told me not to tell Mommy." Emily felt her skin crawl. The story was too detailed, too real. "Noah, has your mommy ever seen Lily?" "She said Lily is just pretend, but one night I heard Mommy crying. She was looking at a photo and said, 'I'm sorry, baby girl.'" Emily stared at him. "Do you remember the photo?" He nodded. "It was in the drawer where she hides her jewelry. I looked one time." A sudden thought hit Emily like lightning. The photo in the hidden room, of the girl with blonde hair and the man behind her with the face scratched out. Could that be Lily? Could she have been a part of this family? And if so, what happened to her? After Noah drifted back to sleep, Emily quietly slipped out of the room and tiptoed into the master bedroom. Her hands moved quickly, opening drawers, until she found it, a small wooden box filled with bracelets and old rings. At the bottom was a photograph. She pulled it out. Her breath caught. It was the same girl. Blonde hair, same striped dress, but this photo was newer, not aged, not scratched. The girl was standing between two adults, a man and a woman. The woman was Mrs. Grant, and the man, he was the same one from the other photo, but his face was not scratched out here. It was Mr. Grant. Emily stared at it, horrified. Lily was their daughter. Then where was she? She turned over the photo. Something was written on the back. "Lily, 2008, our sunshine." Emily did the math. That was 17 years ago. Noah was only 6, so why had they never mentioned another child? Why was Lily erased from everything? Emily suddenly remembered something Mrs. Grant once said in passing. "We had to move here for a fresh start. Too many memories in the last house. But what if they weren't just memories? What if they were secrets? And what if Lily had never left this house?" As Emily stood frozen in the bedroom, she heard a sound again, a knock from Noah's room, 3 soft knocks, then his voice clear and calm. "Emily, she's in the closet again. The truth." They buried. Emily ran. She didn't even pause to think. She rushed back down the hallway toward Noah's room, heart pounding so loudly it drowned out everything else. She pushed the door open hard. Noah! He was sitting up in bed, staring at the closet. "The girl," he whispered, pointing. "She's back." Emily turned to the closet, that plain wooden door now carrying the weight of every nightmare. "Noah, listen to me," she said, kneeling beside him. "I want you to go into my room. Lock the door and don't open it unless I say so, okay?" He looked scared now, but nodded. She guided him out and into the guest room, locking it behind him. Then she turned back toward the closet. Her legs felt heavy. Her hand shook as it reached the handle, and then she opened it. The back panel still sat there, slightly off from the other wall. Emily reached forward and pressed against it. It clicked, and slowly it swung open. Behind it was a dark tunnel, narrow, lined with wood beams, just big enough for a child to crawl through, or for someone to hide. The air coming from it was colder than before, and she could hear it again. A faint sound, like someone breathing. Emily turned on her flashlight and crawled in. She moved slowly, careful not to make noise. The tunnel stretched deeper than she expected, maybe 15 feet, before it opened into a tiny, hidden room. The air was thick, the smell stronger now, mold, dust, and something else, something metallic. Emily scanned the space. It was small, barely enough to stand up in. The walls were covered in old children's drawings, crayon lines of houses, suns, and stick figures. But they changed. The farther she looked, the darker they got. One showed a girl in a cage, another, a tall man with no face. She turned toward the far corner, and that's when she saw it. A small wooden bed, a faded pink blanket, and sitting neatly at the edge, another doll, this one missing both arms, beside it a notebook. Emily picked it up. The handwriting matched the earlier one. He told me no one would believe me. I miss Mommy. I don't think she misses me. I want to go outside, but he says it's not safe. Emily's eyes blurred with tears. This wasn't just a hiding spot. It was a prison. Lily had lived here, trapped, and no one ever came for her until now. A sudden noise made Emily spin around. Footsteps, again, heavy, above her, and this time they weren't walking away. They were coming downstairs. Emily turned off the flashlight and stayed still, her breath caught in her throat. Then a voice, not Noah's, not hers, but a man, calm, slow, familiar. You shouldn't be down here. Emily couldn't move. The voice was outside the hidden door now. I told them it was locked. I told them no one would ever find it again. A pause. Then the sound of something being dragged. Why couldn't you leave it alone? Emily clutched the notebook to her chest, heart racing. The door to the closet creaked open. She had seconds. She turned, crawled back through the tunnel as fast as she could. Dirt scraped her arms. Her flashlight slipped. She left it behind. She burst out of the tunnel just as the hidden panel slammed open behind her. A hand reached in. She screamed and kicked the panel shut, pushing a bookshelf in front of it. Then she grabbed Noah from the guest room. We're leaving now, but I didn't get my... Noah, we're not safe. Please, just trust me. Downstairs, Emily grabbed her bag, keys and phone. She flung open the front door and ran straight into Mrs. Grant. She looked shocked. Emily, what on earth is going on? Emily stared at her, eyes wide, hair messy, still holding Noah. You lied to me, she said through clenched teeth. You knew about Lily. Mrs. Grant's face drained of color. Where did you hear that name? She's your daughter, Emily snapped. She lived in this house. She was trapped. In the walls, I found her room, her drawings, her diary. Mrs. Grant looked down, silent. I'm calling the police, Emily said, backing away with Noah still in her arms. If you don't tell me the truth right now. Mrs. Grant's lips trembled. You don't understand. You don't know what he did. Emily froze. He, she asked. Mrs. Grant nodded slowly. My husband. I didn't know what he was doing. Not at first. Lily was scared of him, but I thought it was just discipline. Then one day she disappeared. He said she ran away, but she never would have left without her bear. Emily stared at her. You knew, and you stayed. I didn't know until it was too late, she whispered. I didn't know where he put her. He made me think I was going crazy. He told everyone she'd been sent to live with relatives. I told myself that was true, because I couldn't face the other possibility. Noah looked up. At his mother. Mommy, who's Lily? Mrs. Grant's eyes filled with tears. She's your sister, baby, she whispered. Your big sister. Emily stood frozen in shock. It all made sense now. The guilt, the silence, the forgotten photo. Lily hadn't run away. She had been hidden, forgotten, left to disappear in the shadows of her own home, and someone, likely Mr. Grant, had done it all. Emily's voice shook. Where is your husband now? Mrs. Grant looked at her, and then looked over Emily's shoulder. Emily turned slowly. A man was standing at the end of the driveway, watching. He never left. Emily locked eyes with the man standing at the end of the driveway, Tall, broad shoulders, dark jacket. He didn't speak. He just stared. Mrs. Grant's voice shook. "That's him. That's my husband." Noah clung tightly to Emily's side. She felt his small arms wrap around her waist, trembling. Emily's instincts kicked in. She yanked the front door shut and twisted the lock. "Get away from the windows," she said, pulling Noah and Mrs. Grant into the hallway. "Call the police, now." Mrs. Grant fumbled for her phone. Her hands shook so much she nearly dropped it. "No signal," she whispered, eyes wide. "He must have cut it. He's done this before." "Before?" Emily grabbed the nearest object, a fireplace poker, and held it tightly. "We're not letting him in." A loud knock pounded the door, then another and another, each one louder, slower, measured, like a predator tapping the cage of prey. Mrs. Grant started sobbing. "I should have stopped him. I should have told someone back then." Emily pulled her back. "It's not too late now. We stay calm, we protect Noah, we survive." Then without warning, crack! The front window shattered. A rock flew through, landing in the hallway. Emily screamed and shoved them into the nearest room. The kitchen. She pushed the table against the door and grabbed a knife from the counter. Outside, the man's boots crunched over broken glass. He was coming. Noah whimpered. "Emily, I'm scared." She dropped to his level and cupped his face. "Listen to me, buddy. You are so brave, just like Lily. We're going to be okay, all right?" He nodded, tears welling. Mrs. Grant leaned against the fridge, pale and shaking. "He's not here for you. He's here for what you found." Emily's eyes narrowed. "You mean Lily's room?" Mrs. Grant looked away. "No, the tape." Emily's heart skipped. "What tape?" Mrs. Grant's lips trembled. "Lily had a little tape recorder. She used to sing into it, talk about her day. When she disappeared, I thought it was gone, but now I think she recorded what he did. Maybe even the night it happened." Emily suddenly remembered the small radio-like object in the hidden room, the one she hadn't touched. "You knew this was in the house all along?" "I was afraid," Mrs. Grant whispered. "If anyone found it, it would all come out. And he swore he'd kill me. And Noah." Emily's voice dropped. "You stayed quiet all these years, and now she's still trapped. Do you even care?" Mrs. Grant's face crumpled. "I loved her, I still do. I was weak, Emily. I was a coward." Emily stood. "Well, I'm not." Another crash, this time from the back door. He was inside. Emily grabbed Noah's hand and ran toward the basement door. "Come on, follow me." They darted down the stairs into the dark basement. Emily flicked on the light, barely enough to see. They needed time. Somewhere to hide. Somewhere to plan. And then she saw it. The old furnace, the stack of boxes, and behind them a crawl space. Emily moved everything aside and pushed Noah inside first, then Mrs. Grant. Then she crawled in, pulling the boxes back to cover the opening. Footsteps echoed above them, slow, deliberate, the sound of boots on wooden floorboards, then silence. Emily held her breath. Minutes passed. She could hear Mrs. Grant whispering prayers. Noah buried his head against Emily's arm, and then thump. Something dropped directly above them, a dragging sound. Footsteps coming down the basement stairs. Emily clutched the knife tighter. He was looking for them. Inside the crawl space, darkness wrapped around them. But Emily noticed something on the wall, carved words, faint and shaky. She leaned closer to read them. He said I wasn't his. He locked the door. "Please help me." Tears burned her eyes. This was where Lily had cried, where she had begged, where no one came. Until now, Emily turned and saw something in the corner, a box. She opened it. Inside, a cracked tape recorder and a few dusty cassettes. Her fingers trembled as she loaded one. The recorder clicked. She pressed play, and Lily's voice came to life. "Hi, it's me. Mommy didn't come today. I was good. I didn't cry this time. He said I should never talk again. I'm scared. He keeps the light off. I miss my room. I miss my bear. Pause. He comes at night. I heard him tell someone. She's not mine. I never wanted her. He told Mommy I ran away, but I didn't. I'm right here. Emily's throat tightened. The recording clicked off. Then another began automatically. Lily's sobbing. Please help me. Please, someone. Mrs. Grant wept silently in the dark, rocking back and forth. Then, footsteps. Right outside in crawl space. He was in the basement now. The boxes shifted. A boot kicked them aside. Light streamed in, and there he stood, Mr. Grant, older, colder, eyes empty of regret. I told you not to come back here, he growled. Emily pushed Noah behind her. You did this to her. You left her to die in a wall. She wasn't mine, he snapped. She was someone else's mistake. Mrs. Grant screamed, You're a monster! He raised a crowbar, stepped forward, but Emily didn't hesitate. She lunged. The knife slashed across his arm. He roared and dropped the crowbar. They fought hard in the tight crawl space, bodies crashing into old wood. Emily shouted to Mrs. Grant, Take Noah! Go! They scrambled out as Emily kicked Mr. Grant backward, grabbed the tape recorder, and followed them out of the basement. They burst into the daylight. Neighbors had come out, hearing the screams, the glass breaking. Emily waved the tape. Recorder, call the police. He's in the house. He hurt a child. There's proof. Within minutes, sirens wailed. Mr. Grant tried to run, but the crowd surrounded him. He was tackled, screaming, You don't understand! She wasn't mine. She ruined everything. The police dragged him away, and then silence. For the first time, peace. Later that night, Emily sat beside Noah on the front steps as officers took statements. One of them handed her the recorder. This tape. It's going to put him away for life. Mrs. Grant sat across the yard, crying quietly. Emily looked down at Noah. Are you okay? He nodded. She's not crying anymore. Emily blinked. What? He smiled gently. Lily. She told me. Thank you. And then she was gone. Emily stared at him. For the first time, the house behind them felt lighter. Like a weight had been lifted. A secret finally set free. The voice that set her free. 3 months later, the house looked different. The boarded windows had been replaced with bright, open glass. The walls were freshly painted, and the thick air of silence that once hovered inside had lifted. Laughter sometimes echoed in the hallway. Sunlight reached the corners that once hid shadows. But for Emily, one room still haunted her. Lily's hidden room. Today, she stood in that room again, alone. The police had long since collected the tape recorder and everything from the crawl space. Mr. Grant was behind bars now, awaiting trial. Multiple charges. The evidence was overwhelming, but justice hadn't erased the ache. Emily knelt on the dusty wooden floor, where Lily's bed used to be. Her fingers brushed against the grooves in the wood, the faint scratch marks Lily must have made during long nights. The air was quiet now. Too quiet. She whispered, I hope you know. You're not forgotten. Just then, a gentle breeze blew. Through the open door, even though the air inside was still, and for just a moment Emily felt something. Not fear, not sadness, but peace. 2 weeks later, the trial began. Emily sat beside Mrs. Grant in the courtroom. Noah wasn't there, too young, too fragile to witness the storm of truth unraveling inside. Mr. Grant sat in silence, eyes hollow, unmoved as the tapes played for the jury. When Lily's voice echoed through the courtroom, grown men cried, Says I don't belong here. I just want my mommy. Please help me. Mrs. Grant covered her mouth, shoulders shaking with every word. But she stayed. She didn't look away. She owed Lily that. Emily squeezed her hand. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. By the end of the trial, Mr. Grant was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. The judge called his actions beyond cruel and said Lily's bravery, even as a child, gave the court the power to give her justice. After the sentencing, reporters swarmed the courthouse. Emily didn't speak to them. She didn't want fame. But she did want truth and something more. A month later, Emily sat with Noah on the porch steps, a warm evening breeze rustling the trees. He was drawing, a crayon picture of two kids holding hands under the sun. A girl with long brown hair and a boy with curly hair like his. "Who's that?" Emily asked. "That's me," he said. "And that's Lily." Emily's heart ached, but she smiled. "She'd like that," she whispered. "Can we visit her?" he asked softly. Emily paused, then nodded. "Yes, I think it's time." They visited the cemetery together. Mrs. Grant had finally installed a headstone. After all these years, Lily had a name carved in stone. Lily Marie Grant, 2008, 2015. You were never lost. We just didn't listen in time. Flowers lay fresh at her grave. A small teddy bear sat beside them, the same one Lily had once clutched, now repaired and clean. Noah placed a drawing at the base. Then he knelt and whispered, "I won't forget you. You're my sister. Forever." Emily blinked back tears. Mrs. Grant stood behind them, hands folded, quietly crying. "I've lived with guilt for so long," she said softly, "but I want to do something with this pain now, something Lily would have wanted." Emily turned to her. "What do you mean?" "I want to speak up," she said, "for kids like Lily, the ones no one listens to." 6 months later, Mrs. Grant started a foundation in Lily's name, Lily's Voice, a group dedicated to uncovering abuse hidden in plain sight, helping children who suffer in silence. She gave talks, shared her story, and taught others how to see the signs. Emily stood by her side, helping organize events, fundraisers, and working directly with families. Their story reached people far and wide, not as a horror story, but as a wake-up call. 1 year later, Emily returned to college and studied child psychology. She wanted to be more than a babysitter. She wanted to protect, to understand, to give children a voice before it was too late. She stayed close to Noah. He called her his best friend, his safe place. Sometimes at night, when the wind blew gently or the house creaked in soft patterns, he'd whisper, "Lily's here." Emily never questioned it. She believed him, because sometimes when Emily walked through the house, she felt it too. Not fear, not pain, but a quiet presence watching with peace, like Lily was finally free. Final scene. It was a bright spring morning. Emily visited Lily's grave again, this time alone. She brought fresh daisies, sat cross-legged by the stone, and smiled. "I thought I was just babysitting a boy," she said, "but I ended up hearing a voice that had waited years to be heard." She reached into her bag and placed something gently at the grave, the repaired tape recorder. "I found you too late, Lily, but I promise you'll never be unheard again." A breeze passed by, and in it, Emily could have sworn she heard a small, soft laugh, like the giggle of a little girl finally at peace. She didn't turn around. She just closed her eyes, smiled, and whispered, "Thank you." The end.